Hey, DJ. I just wanted to get your thoughts on going up against Theo and Jaden this offseason. What have you seen from them, and what are your expectations for those two heading into this season?
First of all, I expect them to have a great season. Um, Theo, he did what he always does last season, and I know for sure he's going to do more. And I know Jaden Hazelwood coming off his injury, and I know he played a couple of games last year, but I know he's going to show out. But guarding them, I mean, you have to be on your P's and Q's. They have great releases, and not only that, they're smart receivers. So you can't slack at all with them, and they know if you're a little outside, how to work you even more outside to go inside, or if you're more inside, how to work you more inside just to go outside. So you just have to play smart with them, and you have to be really patient.
Let's go to Bob Prisbillo, Sooner Scoop.
DJ, I know you played a lot of receiver in high school. What was that process like moving the corner? How quickly were you bought into fully making that transition?
Oh man, I had wide receiver aspirations. Like I wanted to come to OU and play under Lincoln Riley and play receiver. It was tough a little bit. It was just a little like I don't know. You could tell I really still wanted to play receiver a little bit, and Coach Grinch and Coach Manning, like, they had to sit me down and tell me, like, look, man, like, you could really use what you learned on the offensive side of the ball, and you could implement it on the defensive side of the ball. So once I heard that and kept hearing it, and they were still in my ear about that, and then also me like having a little bit of success, it started to push me over more towards the defensive side, and I can say now I'm completely bought in. I mean, I do miss it though, but you know, it's okay.
Eric Bailey, Tulsa World.
Hey DJ, want to ask you kind of on that same train of thought, just how much confidence did you continue to build as the season went on last year and getting the interception that you got? Just how big was that? And also, how much is Coach Grinch really preaching turnovers, I guess, from that side of the ball
Yeah.
this fall camp?
Yeah. Well, last year when I got that pick, that really, like you said, that boosted my confidence like out the roof. Like I walked into the locker room thinking I was just on top of the world for a little bit, and I tried to carry that on to the next game and the next game. But Coach Grinch, he preaches that literally every single day in meetings, even on the practice field, like all the time. Like, and like he said, like turnover equals victory. You know what I mean? And it's 3 and out and takeaway. Like he preaches that literally every single day.
DJ, thanks a bunch.
Sir.
Ryan Aber, the Oklahoman.
Hey, DJ, good to talk to you. When did that switch flip for you? You talked about thinking about yourself as an offensive player. When did you feel like you fully bought into being a defensive player? And maybe what are one of the two of the things that you took from being a receiver that help you the most in the position you're in now?
Yeah. I would say I really started to flip and like make that decision that okay, I'm a defensive back. I'd probably say really really in the beginning of the season when I really started playing. Um, and I try to look at it as, I'm a receiver. I still have a little bit of that in me when the ball's in the air. And not only that, I feel like, a certain split, if the receiver's on the top of the numbers, if the receiver's on the bottom of the numbers, most likely if he's on the bottom of the numbers, he's most likely running an in-breaking route, or hey, he has a cut split all the way on the hash. Okay, he's probably going to go under. I mean, because it wouldn't make sense for him to line all the way in and go all the way out. And not only that, but certain routes at the top, I could judge the tempo of how he's running. If he takes an outside release, okay, I'm either thinking a go route or I'm thinking a comeback. And if he's a little choppy and his hands aren't real violent, then he's probably going to sit it down and either do a curl or a comeback. Or if he has his head down and he's running hard, me thinking at my receiver mind, okay, I know if I'm doing that, I'm trying to run a fade and I'm trying to run away from you. So certain stuff like that, or like an inside release, it's either post, slant, or dig.
Appreciate it, DJ.
Go to John Hoover, SI Sooners.
Yeah, DJ, I want to go back to spring when Lincoln made the public comments that the receivers need to play better. There's a high bar here. We weren't satisfied with how they played last year, is what he said. Now, as a corner who has to guard these guys in practice, number one, did it agitate you? Like, oh no, they're only going to be better. Number two, what was your perspective on how they have maybe grown or gotten better, or took that personally, or took to those words that Lincoln said?
Yeah, well, playing on Lincoln Riley's offense, it's the bar set high, like he said. And you know what? I was a little shocked because in practice, the dudes, they're, making these miraculous catches, and okay, it didn't translate on the field sometimes, but it was a little agitating at like, dang, okay, they didn't bring what they were doing in practice and they didn't implement it on the game field. But secondly, I expect them to come out this season like at least 1,000 yards, at least 1,000 yards receivers. There should be no reason. Like I said, Marvin Mims, he's gonna do what he's been doing. Theo, we should have a huge season. I've been playing with him forever, so I think I don't expect anything more out of him like that. And also Jaden Hazelwood, he's been working in practice really hard, and I feel like if he can stay healthy, he can impact the team on a way positive note.
Thanks, DJ.
Go to Jason Kersey, The Athletic.
Hey, DJ. Thanks for your time today, man. I wanted to ask you about your quarterback, Spencer, and just his development this year, kind of taking over as a leader of the team after the year he had last year. Now he's out doing autograph signings and sort of become this big deal NIL wise. How do you guys view that as his teammates, and how have you seen him grow?
From last year to this year, it's been like exponentially. Matter of fact, from the beginning of the season to the end of the season, it was like he was a completely different quarterback. And I think he just needs to get his feet wet. I think we were a little spoiled with, Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield, Jalen Hurts, these dudes that are 4 and 5 year seniors. But this dude, he just had to get his feet wet a little bit. And now he's such a poised quarterback. He's a smart quarterback, and he's always making the right decisions. He doesn't crack under pressure. He doesn't just throw the ball up. None of that. And watching him getting autographs and people just flooding him it's surreal, But hey, you're the quarterback of OU. And you're making plays. So what do you expect? But we're all happy for him. There's no animosity towards him, no envy towards him. It's all just we all right behind him. He's our quarterback.
How many times have you picked him off in practice?
He doesn't throw to me. He really really. I can honestly say the only time he ever throws to me is one-on-ones, and that's it. Period. But in team and 7-on-7, he does not throw to me.
Thanks, DJ.
Jenny Carlson, The Oklahoman.
DJ, I don't know if you're still a communications major, but put me at the top of the list for having you back as much as you want. Consider that vote, Mike Hauk.
Thank you.
Hey, I actually wanted to ask you a little bit about, I know this isn't a COVID year like last year, but thanks, Mike. Big thumbs up. Appreciate that. I know this isn't a COVID year like last year, DJ, but there's vaccines, which it sounds like maybe those numbers continue to trend up amongst teams, and this Delta variant still out there. How have you seen guys? How are you approaching this, knowing that they're still testing, they're still contact tracing, and just all that is linked to this virus?
Yeah. Well, I took advantage, I feel like, because I got tested. And I got my vaccine shot. So I haven't had any issues since then. And I'm like, most of our team, I think we're over like 90%, which is great. And we haven't had really any issues, anything like that. But we also do have to be aware. Our coaches tell us all the time, like, COVID will be it's going to be a part of this season. Like, it hasn't went away. Matter of fact, the spikes have gone up still a little bit, but I guess we're just it's a little step at a time. And hopefully we just keep getting through this like we have been.
Do you feel like guys have to be the bubble of last year? You guys sort of almost had a bubble there amongst the team. I assume that it's not going to be quite as secure this year. Do you almost have to mind your P's and Q's a little bit more because of that?
Yeah, I feel like that. Just because the mask went away, I feel like we're still going to take little precautions. But like I said, COVID is gonna be, it's gonna be, it's gonna be in our back. Like it's gonna be behind us always. Like it's gonna be looking over our shoulders at all times. So I think what we need to do is get, try to get 100% vaccinated, and then just go from there. Because like I said, like with this around, it's gonna affect one team, at least one team in the country when the season comes around. So I think we just need to put our best foot forward to try to protect the team.
Thank you, DJ.
Brandon Drum, OU Insider.
Hey DJ, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good. This is gonna be your second year as a starter. What have you seen your own personal growth as far as how you have changed as a defensive back, cornerback from the first time you went out there and made plays to today? And then finally, you know, Mike Woods has come in as a player. I don't know if you've gone up against him in one-on-ones, but what have you seen in him so far?
Well, with my personal growth, I've like Coach Manning, he mentioned it to me yesterday. He said, just keep doing what you're doing. You came a long ways, because you could turn on some tape last year and it was shaky, with my technique at least. That's one thing that I try to hone in on, my technique. And I know, me being a pretty good athlete, if I can hone in on my technique, more players are gonna come to me and everything's gonna be a little bit easier. But Mike Woods, he's that dude. He's strong. Like he's a physical receiver. He has strong hands. If you're trying to poke the ball out, you gotta go through his hands or he's gonna catch it. He runs good routes to be a big dude. He's agile, and he's, like I said, he's physical. He's gonna, he doesn't do much juking in the open field. He's gonna put his head down.
James Hale, KREF.
DJ, I think that you are a ball hawk. That ball goes in the air, man, and you go after it. So I see the receiver in you, man. I do. So give me an idea. When that ball's in the air, you're going to be as aggressive as the wide receiver to go get it, aren't you?
Oh, for sure. Like you said, it's still like the little receiver in the back of my head. He's just, really see ball and get ball. Like that's
right.
Attack the ball at its highest point, find the easiest route to the ball, and really don't mind the receiver. I mean, when the ball is in the air, you literally just lock onto the ball. But I really track how the ball spins in the air, so I know how to position my hands. If it's a tight spiral, I know how to position my hands. If the ball's a little wobbly, I'm looking at it. I'm really like I'm tracing it. But yeah, I mean, I really turn it like Coach Manning. He told me yesterday, like, dude, when the ball's in the air, turn into a receiver. He said you play receiver out of everyone. Like at this whole DB room, you play receiver the most. He's like, so you got to use that, and I think that's how I look at it.
No doubt. Good luck, man.
Appreciate it.
Okay, winding down here, Myron Patton, Fox 25.
Yeah, I was going to hit that same thing. Being a former receiver, that competitive nature, I guess, it just switched sides. But having said that, is there anybody that you look at as a corner who you like to model your game after, since you're so young in the position?
Woody Washington. His technique is like flawless, and also Ryan Peoples, our walk-on. He's his technique, and he focused in on it every single day. And I'm looking there like, man, like their technique, the way they move their feet, like literally hands on in the first 2 yards, they do all that. Like they check all the boxes. So yeah, me being a young corner, I still have a little bit of hiccups on my technique, and I really try to model my game after Ryan Peoples and Woody Washington.
Thanks, man.
Okay, last two questions. Lee Benson, KWTV.
Hey, DJ, another receiver-related type question. I appreciate the details you went into, kind of getting into the receivers' heads, because you know what it's like to be in their shoes.
Yeah.
But I noticed last year, tackling seemed to come pretty easily to you as well. Can you go over the process of how, I guess, how quickly tackling became, kind of a natural thing for you?
Well, my first position was on the defensive side was a linebacker. I was always undersized, so I always had to figure out a way to, get the dudes down. And I think it's toughened me up a little bit. It made me calloused. And I think over the years, I've always had that little, not necessarily, but the little edge, the little I want to stick my head into stuff. Um, and it's also something that we worked on, even in high school. My defensive coach, he preached that he always wanted his corner. He didn't want any soft corners. All his corners were gonna be able to come down and make a tackle. And in college, I just tried to carry that on in college, and have no fear. I think that's a big thing that some corners have is they're fearful of getting ran over, getting juked. Like, dude, no, just like do what you learned, and that's the least that you do, and everything else will play out. So I try to have no fear, and I just want to trust my technique and be physical.